Starting nursing school, the very first day, they looked at us and they said, say goodbye to your friends, say goodbye to your family, tell them that you will see them in 2 years. And holy shit, they were right. It was so hard. And also a lot of fun moments. So the fun moments when I first started, my teacher the first day, her name was Miss Mwangi. And I was like, oh my God, she's from Kenya and we're going to Africa. And I helped create a trip for a group of us students to go and do a medical mission in Kenya, which we went and we stayed in Nairobi and we lived in a convent and we walked to Kibera, which is at the time the second largest slum in the world, and we did medical care and we helped open this very luxurious hospital there called Karen Hospital, and we did a mini safari and it was incredible. And I had been to Africa. I'd been to Kenya before. When I was 19, I went. I was the only American on the trip, and definitely the youngest. And wanted to go to Africa, and so I went to Africa when I was 19. But this was so exciting that I got the opportunity to do that. The other things that happened while I was in nursing school, it was I think it was either my first or second semester, I ended up with this thing called atypical facial neuralgia, where I would get shooting pains through my head that were excruciating, and I had to go in and out of the hospital and on medication. And one of my best friends at the time ended up really sick. She had endocarditis, and they told her don't use again, and she used again, and she ended up in the hospital and ended up passing away. Her name was Tracy, for anybody watching that knew her. And it was challenging. My cat got sick with diabetes during that time, but I just kept showing up. And I fell in love with surfing around that time. And I would wear booties even during summer, because if you missed more than one clinical day of school, you were out of the program, period. And so I couldn't get cuts on my feet or miss any clinical days. So I was super careful about everything I did. But I showed up. I would show up at 6 a.m. Class started at 9. We'd study in our car together. We'd study after school. We'd study on the weekends. We'd study. And we learned. And doing your rotation at the county, we started with bed baths and washing people and brushing their hair, and we ended with having our own 5 patients, where who knew where the nurses were. But you learn to be a good nurse, and you are a good nurse.